World Sa'ani. Happy New Year to you all. We hope that you have a blessed year and the Lord will be with you in 2023. We just want to do a recap of 2022. It was a really challenging year for us as a family. So we want to look back and just also honor the Lord through every step that we took. So what we're going to do with this video, we're just going to go from the beginning of the year till the end of the year in short bits, just to say short bits of what the Lord has done in our lives and through our lives. In the beginning of the year, we were all still in South Africa, making ready to come back to Moldova. But then it was still COVID, and the Omicron virus was still present at that time. And the rest of the world was pretty closed for South Africa. We were planning to come back on the 8th and the 9th of January. Then it was stopped so that we were not allowed to come because we are from South Africa, and they said the origin was in South Africa. So it was quite a challenge. I remember 2 or 3 times applying or booking in, and then Moldova let us know, the people in Moldova let us know, sorry, you're not allowed to come into the country. So yes, after all, about a week or two, then they said, okay, the borders are open again for Moldova. So we were on our way back to Moldova. As we arrived back in Moldova, there was a lot of restrictions still, vaccine restrictions, that you're not allowed to enter the stores without the vaccine certificate. We were still like worried, how are we going to buy different things, you know, if you need something from not just a food store or a pharmacy, because you were not allowed to go into the stores. But ministry continued as normal. We did the Reach program started. We preached in the church. We worked, Anita started again with the member care, with the staff of OM. There was a thing of this 22nd of the 2nd month of 2022. I don't know if you received that WhatsApp going around, and it was so strange because 2 days afterwards, it was the war started in Ukraine, and then a lot of things changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was hard to see all the refugees streaming in. Of course, everything, normal ministry had to stop, and everybody had to jump in to help with the refugee care, working on the border, preparing beds for a lot of people, making food, and just, yeah.
I remember there was a time when they said there is, I don't know how many, 50 deaf people, Ukrainians coming to, that's actually where everything started with the ministry, with the refugees, with OM.
With our house as well.
Yeah, I mean, they said there was 50 deaf Ukrainians coming over the border, and they needed a place to stay for a few nights. And there was a family coming with them that
got lost.
that got lost, and they saw all these Ukrainian cars coming in one direction. So they thought, okay, let's follow
join them. Hopefully we'll get a bed and something to eat.
And then when they arrived at the mission center,
there was no beds for them.
Yes, and then so our kids were still in their bed, Divan and Joshua, and the next minute they asked us, hey, do you have a place at your house for some refugees to come to stay at your house for the night? There's not enough room for them. So Joshua had to get out of bed. Divan had to get out of the bed. And yeah, that's how the ministry also started in our house with the refugees.
Yeah, the boys didn't know when they will be able to sleep on their own beds again. Having to sleep on the floor, and anyway. But we thank God for the opportunity to be able to serve the refugees, and we also thank you guys for supporting us so that we could be able to serve them and to help them to go through difficult times.
In the period when the refugees came to stay at our house, I think we had more than refugees and some people coming from ministry or that was affected by the war. Mm-hmm. I think we had like more than 100 people staying in our house. And like Anita said, we just want to thank each and every one of you that said, hey, can we have your bank details? And you transferred some money into our account to buy food for the people, to pay for electricity, to pay for water, to pay for gas. Mm-hmm.
And we take them around with the car.
And we just want to also add a few pictures, just for some faces that you can just, know that you were part of the ministry with the refugees. I remember there's also one picture where Anita and some ladies around the table prayed together, were able to share the ministry.
Yeah, and I just spoke with one of the refugees that had to move from Ukraine, obviously. And for us, life goes on, and everybody else, life goes on as normal. But for them, their lives are really torn apart. Their families are still in Ukraine, and they are still in a different country. And the war is still continuing. So we keep on praying for those who also went through our house, and would like to ask you to also pray for them as well.
The refugee numbers became less. A lot of refugees came to Moldova and then saw that, you know, months is passing and they have to go back to the husbands. I have to say, it was really, working at the border, it was really a hard time. You know, you see a lot of emotional things, husbands and wives saying goodbye to each other, children saying goodbye to their fathers. And so during that time, a lot of the women and children came to Moldova, and some left for the rest of Europe. But for some of them, they saw, but you know, they can't go on. They've stayed here at maybe at a shelter or somebody's house, and life can't continue like this. And so a lot of them started going back to Ukraine. And so the ministry started going down with working with the ministry, with the refugees. And so OM Moldova started again with doing summer outreaches, and also myself went on an outreach, and Anita also went to an outreach, summer outreach. And we also had a lot of food packages now sending for those people who are going back to Ukraine. I remember at a stage we were packing 6,000 food parcels to send to people, still some Ukrainians in Moldova, and also for those who went back to send food parcels as food became lesser and lesser in Ukraine because there's no imports and exports with the war.
They continue.
Yeah.
They still continue with food parcels.
And till today, they're still packing a lot of food parcels. So yeah, that was basically when
the refugee ministry started calming down a little bit. We could focus on different ministries, like the summer outreaches and stuff like that. And then we also had the retreat in Romania.
It was a good,
really,
breathtaking.
Time to just see a different scenery and get refocus again, I think, and regroup in our team, because we couldn't really get to normal group team life for OM Moldova, as it was COVID and isolation, and then the war started. So we didn't even recover after COVID, and then the war started. So the retreat was really good to just
bring
get
the team together again.
To bring the team together again. Yes. After the retreat,
I think just before the retreat, we started praying. You know, what is ministry going to look? We also had the desire in our hearts, you know,
for a long time
to go to a village. And as you saw in last month's newsletter that you know, we moved to Vishanovka. But before that, we prayed, you know, Lord, where do you want to use us? You know, and so we started visiting a lot of villages, and eventually we were able to. We felt the Lord leading us to Vishanovka.
Yeah, we visit 12, 13 villages.
Different villages, yes.
Meeting the pastors and looking at the ministries and how they are functioning. And then when we stopped in Vishanovka, we just felt the Lord's calling and presence, and just knew that this is where we should be. There's been a lot of challenges with housing and obviously learning the language still, but we're getting there.
I think, yes, if we just have to look back on 2022, it was really challenging. There was a lot of challenges, a lot of uncertainties of what's going to happen. Is the war coming to Moldova? Isn't the war not coming to Moldova?
Do we have to flee as well?
Yes, do we have to flee back to South Africa? Or where do we flee to? You know, if the war comes. But I really have to say that the Lord's hand was with us the whole time, even in the times of uncertainty, of not sure what's going to happen tomorrow.
Some days in the midst of the war, it was so severe that we thought, well, let's sleep in our normal day clothes because we don't know if we have to flee during the night. There was times like that, so it was really stressful sometimes.
We had our suitcases packed to,
Yeah, but thank God we didn't have to. We didn't. There was no need for us to flee.
I think if we look back on 2022 also, we just want to thank the Lord for His presence and His abundant care and protection over us, and also for each and every one of you that were part of what we did here in Moldova. We just want to thank you for every message, for every financial support, finances that you paid into our account to help those who is in need.
And also for all the prayers. We could feel down for 1 minute and then somebody's praying for us, and we could really feel the prayers. We could really feel that people are praying, and we know that you guys are supporting us in many ways, not just financially. So we really want to thank you for that, and know that God is at work and through you and through us, and we know that if we take hands and keep on going, that God will keep on working.